and gentlemen, welcome to LeTip Live. LeTip is an organization of like-minded individuals brought together to help each other's businesses grow and flourish. And today we have a special treat for you. We have our featured member of the month, Adam Muslusky. He's here joining us today. Adam, welcome to, he's not here today in person. He's virtual. So we're going to the interwebs here with Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Adam Muslusky. Adam,
morning,
how are
everybody.
you?
I'm doing well. How's your Friday?
Yes. Happy Friday. We got the nice sunset going on in our little background over here. Everyone's happy for the weekend to begin. But before we do that, we want to get to know you and what you're all about, Adam. So Adam, why don't we dive right into it?
Okay.
What exactly do you do?
So I am an ambulance chaser. I am a parasite of insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
I help injured people.
Nice.
I practice as an attorney, and I do personal injury, and I am licensed as a workers' compensation specialist in the state of Nevada, out of Las Vegas specifically. Had my own practice. We just turned 9 years old in this past August. So we're heading towards year number 10.
Nice. Great stuff. I do want to remind you guys that you can learn more about Adam in our Communicare. So every month we have our Communicare that comes out, and I'm pulling it up right here for you guys so you can see our awesome cover we have. So every month we have a Communicare. It gets sent to your guys' email addresses. So check your spam folder because it could have wound up there some way, somehow. But it's great because you get to learn more about LeTip. You get to learn about our feature members, spotlights on chapters, but it also helps you on your LeTip journey. So definitely check out Communicare because you'll get to see a whole beautiful article about our cover man over here, Adam. So awesome, Adam. That sounds like a lot of fun. What made you get into this industry? How did you get into this industry?
I'd love to tell you that I had a story such as the movie My Cousin Vinny or something like that happened to me personally that said, hey, look, I want to be an attorney when I grow up. You hear a lot of people say, so-and-so should be an attorney because they like to argue. I don't have any of those stories. What I can tell you is as far back as being a kid, when they would ask you in class, what you wanted to be, friends, family, everybody always said, I just stood up and said I wanted to be an attorney, but I couldn't tell you the inspiration for it.
All right.
I think as I've done this, I understand that the little guy gets stepped on by the insurance companies, taken advantage a lot of times. I think it's maybe just kind of a justice thing for me, fighting for the little guy to get what he deserves and not be taken advantage of. Truthfully, that's what it's really become actually for me.
Awesome. So you're a real life superhero. Awesome. Great stuff. I love it. We have a superhero on the show. Great stuff. So when you represent people, you're more representing the little guy who's going, it's like David and Goliath, and you're like, they're trying to like not pay for something. And you're like, no, like this person, got in would car accidents fall into that category? Or, if someone like slipped and fell in a store, like what are some of the categories or situations that someone should come talk to you?
In personal injury, which is about 40% of my practice right now. Oftentimes we help people, car accident victims. We do help slip and fall victims, perhaps on a premises. You've got things like dog bites. Basically, we've got some clients that maybe inadequate security. Something happened at a casino or a parking lot that somebody should have been monitoring, things of that nature. On the workers' compensation side, we help injured workers who get injured. And those clients are anywhere from casino workers to hospital workers to people that work at mom and pop shops. I have a lot of flight attendants from Southwest Airlines. as an example. So they come from all over the place, to be honest with you.
Awesome. Great stuff. So I do want to remind everybody at home that we are live. So if you at home have a question, comment, or concern, you put it right here in the comment section. We can bring it up and talk about it live with Adam today. Awesome. So any tips or tricks that we could share? So, we like to use our members and, soak in all their knowledge that they have and help our other members and spread the knowledge. So any tips or tricks, like, for example, like if you got in a car accident, maybe the best thing to do is go into the ambulance, not say, "Oh, I'm okay," and walk it off. Yeah, if you slip and fell, like it's best to, make a police report. Like any tips or tricks. So if someone gets caught up into a uncomfortable situation, what are some of the first things they should think about or do?
Yeah, for auto accident cases, oftentimes, they don't come to us, of course, until afterwards. But every time you think you hear it all, the phone rings, right, and you get the next
Mm-hmm.
story. I think what happens a lot of times in auto accident cases is people get upset. Sometimes they're mad at the other drivers for hitting them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times there's physical responses. Sometimes people hit their head. They're not always thinking clearly. Oftentimes, they're very emotional in some respects, and so, we always suggest call the police. We always
Mm-hmm.
suggest that the police come out and do a report. Certainly, take pictures of the scene, take pictures of both vehicles. Oftentimes, people
Mm-hmm.
will take pictures of their own vehicle, but not the one that hit them. Try
Mm-hmm.
to exchange information with the other driver, their driver's license, their insurance card. Make sure if you take a picture of the other car, take a picture of the license plate, take a picture of the other driver.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of stories where there's an accident and people see the driver and the passenger in the other car change spots. Um,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. With respect to premises cases, if you slip and fall and it's unfortunate, and again, you got to think about people when those things happen. There's an emotional embarrassment factor there, especially if it's in public, and people just want to get up and shake it off, and they don't think they're that hurt and those types of things. Absolutely look at the substance on the floor. Try to take a picture of it. Take a picture of your clothes or save the clothes if there's some type of substance on the floor. Don't wash the clothes, throw them in a plastic bag. Absolutely notify security or, the manager of the premises, wherever the business is. Let them know what took place. Do a report. Those types of things. Get names and phone numbers. Oftentimes people will say, we've got witnesses, and then, they didn't get a name or a phone number. And sometimes those can be critical because oftentimes witnesses don't have a dog in the fight. And oftentimes witnesses can be the tiebreaker if an accident is a he said, she said type of thing. So, again, it seems like a lot to think about, but really a lot of this stuff is straightforward. And it's about just kind of managing yourself emotionally at the scene when unfortunately something like an accident or something bad happens to you.
Great stuff. Again, remind you guys we are live. So if you have a question, please put it in the comment section. Any other tips or tricks or things that people should, think about? Like, oh man, if they knew this before they talked to me. I mean, you covered a lot and we've talked about a lot, but anything else that you like to share on the
Sure.
business side of things?
Sure. I mean, in auto cases in particular, in the state of Nevada, and most states probably have similar, policies and things. We always talk to clients about, when you drive in any given state, there's a minimum amount of coverage that you're supposed to have on your auto insurance. And that coverage protects you up to the extent of that policy if you hit somebody else and injure them. There's
Mm-hmm.
additional coverages in Nevada we have. It's called underinsured, uninsured, and that's additional coverage that you would have to pay for under your own auto policy that would protect you in the event somebody hit you. They were at fault for the accident and they didn't have insurance or they didn't have enough insurance. And so a lot of times, we're this, society of victims, if you will, and those are opportunities for you to protect yourself and your loved ones that are involved, that are in your car. So whether it's a family member or a friend, those types of things. Um, Everybody's always upset at the other guy, but sometimes you have to be proactive and take care of yourself. And I think one of the things when it comes to auto insurance, people think of it as just another bill they have to pay every month or every quarter or whatever it is. And when you think about it and put it in the context of, hey, look, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your loved ones, maybe it's a different characterization. And I think for those, those PNC agents and LeTip out there, if you can figure out how to talk to your client base and why that's important, and especially if they don't have health insurance, those would be great things to have, because there's nothing more deflating than talking to a client with a big case and letting them know that the adverse driver only has minimum limits, and in the inevitable conversation and the client being upset and saying, that's not fair. And I have to look at the client and say, look, they just had to meet the state minimums, and that's what they did. So you may not like it, but they met the law. Or God forbid, they get hit by somebody that's driving around without insurance. There's statistics out there, depending on the part of the time of day and area of the city that you're in, that 1 out of 3 vehicles driving in the group of 3 cars does not have insurance. So it's unfortunate, but those people out there exist. And so it's important that we protect ourselves and our loved ones when we're out and about driving in a car. And uninsured, underinsured coverage and another coverage called MedPay are ways that can help and avoid those problems.
Wow. So Charlene asks a question. I'm going to get to that in 1 second, Charlene. But going along with what you're talking about right now. So if someone doesn't have insurance or has the minimum coverage of insurance and they're the ones in fault, that can have an effect on you. I would think that like someone would be paying that tab, and like maybe that person has to like have repercussions. But like if that person has like no insurance and hits you, you're out of luck.
Yeah, there can be. I mean, it's the whole adage of, you can go get a judgment against that person, but if there's no insurance money to collect, the judgment isn't worth the paper it's written on. And so think about it just from, basic financials. If somebody's driving around without insurance, number one, not smart. Number two, also suggests that there could be some financial issues going on. So not to say that we always assume, we don't, but there's some easy conclusions we can draw and say, if you're driving around without insurance, chances are you don't have much in the way of assets in the first place. And if you don't have any assets and you go out and injure somebody or God forbid kill somebody, okay, yeah, you get cited for the accident. Yeah, you feel bad, but there's no collectability. So there's nothing worse than talking to a prospective client. Something bad happens to them and or family members or friends in their vehicle, and finding out that the driver who's responsible didn't have any insurance, and more sad, finding out that the prospective client didn't protect themselves because they didn't have uninsured, underinsured coverage, and because it was characterized to them as an additional bill that they had to pay every month, with not understanding the possibilities and the repercussions. At the end of the day, we all want this much coverage, which is a lot, but we all only want to pay a small amount for as much coverage as possible. You can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways. Wow. You learn something new every day. So our first question today comes from Charlene Harris. She goes, good afternoon. If someone is in an accident, can that person request the footage from the street cameras?
Good question. There's a lot of, for example, in Las Vegas, where I live, there's a lot of cameras at various intersections. Oftentimes those cameras do record. Oftentimes those cameras, though, the recording it replicates, or it goes over itself. Those cameras oftentimes are used for traffic conditions. So that's how the news and companies like that report it. There are ways to get that traffic footage. Oftentimes you're going to have to file a lawsuit, have to subpoena, things of that nature. Sometimes if an accident happens at an intersection, there could be cameras on buildings. If that's the scenario, oftentimes we will talk to the client, have the client walk into the building, or sometimes we'll do it ourselves, depending on the facts of the case. Try to see if there was a camera outside, you know, the 7-Eleven on the corner. Did they catch anything on such and such date at such and such time? All the more reason, again, going back to witnesses. If somebody, you know, stops by, get a name and phone number. You know, those witnesses tend to be hypercritical when these cases become he said, she said, because the insurance companies, if it's a 50-50, they can tell you to go kick rocks. And, you know, then it becomes a stare down whether you're going to file a lawsuit. And if you can prove the case that the other guy's more at fault than your client is. And those are tough. Those are tough cases.
Wow. So obviously, the best thing in any scenario would be one to contact you, so you can get the right procedure of what to do. But like, those cameras are going to record over themselves, so like they might only have a 24-hour window. So if you wait a week, that footage could be gone.
Yeah,
so obviously you want to act as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but it can be done, but it's tough. It's tough to get those things. So again, if possible, focus on the witnesses at the scene. Just get a name, get a phone number. You know, it's a simple, hey, did you see the accident? Yes. Okay. Can I call you later or text you later? Okay. What's your number? Again, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's an emotional component to it. Always call the cops. You know, when they ask you, is anybody hurt? I always tell clients, tell them you don't know, because you don't know what the other driver's feeling or not feeling, you know. And injuries don't always manifest then and there at the scene. I mean, the longer we do this, the more we find out that, you know, sometimes there's pain and discomfort at the scene. Sometimes it's an hour later. Sometimes it's the night of the accident. Sometimes it's the next day. Sometimes it's a week before people's symptoms and injuries manifest.
Yeah, adrenaline's pumping, you know,
all that.
Yeah, you're right on the right state, and then things settle down a couple of days later. Oh, my back. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it.
So, want to remind you guys, we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have a question, comment, concern, please put in the comment section. We will answer it live. Adam, before we shift gears, we're going to shift gears in a second, but I want to, you know, open the floor up if you have any more tips or tricks or anything business related that you'd like to share with everybody.
Yeah, from a business standpoint, you know, I think it's important, and in particular in the context of LeTip, and this goes in particular, you know, obviously for other LeTip members, you know, never tell your clients no. So if they ask you for something, for a good or service, never, never, never tell them no. If it's not something you provide, suggest to them, hey, look, let me find somebody for you. And what's critical about that, just from a business standpoint, and this is one of the ways that I built my business, is you want to be that center of the universe. You want to be the guy. You want to be the person that says, call Adam, because Adam always knows somebody and he can find me somebody if he can't help me. Because if all your clients or your staff members are here as, no, we don't do that. No, I don't know who does that. They're going to stop asking you. And when they stop asking you, that means they're going to ask the person that did help them or did make the attempt to go find something or someone. And so what does that mean? When that accident finally shows up, in my case, they're going to call me. They're not going to go down the street and call the next lawyer because I told them no 3 or 4 times because, no, that's not the area of law that I do. And the takeaway from that is that takes effort. That takes time. That you probably feel like you don't have. But if you're looking for business, that's how you're going to continue to pick up business. That's also how you're going to continue to network and expand your network. And all those things are, you know, why we do this. It's helping others, and indirectly you reap the benefits of that.
Absolutely. So you read my mind, because that's my next segue of what we're going into is LeTip, the reason why we're all here and hanging out. So the one question I ask everybody who comes on the show is what LeTip means to them. So what does LeTip mean to you?
I've got kind of a biased view. My mother was in LeTip in the 70s in San Diego, probably one of the first original groups. So I like to tell everybody I'm kind of a second generation LeTipper, if you will. And what I gleaned from my mother and her relationships is that those relationships were lifelong. So her CPA is still her CPA 40 years later. Her
Hmm.
realtor was still her realtor until he passed away. Her mortgage lender was still her mortgage lender the last time she bought a home, those types of things. And so when people come to our chapter and and get introduced to guests and things like that, I said, look, I'm looking for lifetime relationships, whether you're in LeTip or not. I'd like you to be in our chapter if it works out. Um, and I can tell you, just like as we talked about a second ago, about always taking the extra step to help somebody and help them find the good or the service that they're looking for or the person they need. Um, I can't tell you how many people have come and gone in LeTip, and after they were gone, they still called me for cases. They still called me for a lead or a referral. And what did that result in? That resulted in more leads and more referrals for our chapter. So other people in the chapter could grow their businesses and stuff. And so for me, finding those relationships and maintaining those relationships, hopefully within LeTip, but lifelong relationships from a business perspective as well as a personal perspective, that's what it means to me.
Awesome. Great stuff. So, as a second generation and a lifelong LeTip member, any tips or tricks or advice you could give a newer member or a rookie member?
Yeah, for the new ones, and everybody's different, and it's up to you. And I could give you the cliche, and you get out of it
Mhm.
what you put into it. My suggestion though would be get involved. Um, jump on a chair, jump on a committee. If your chapter's struggling with, I don't know, the computer one morning, trying to get your PowerPoint presentation up and running, and you're good with computers, feel free to offer your services and help. If somebody needs to make a phone call to confirm with, where you guys meet the next week, or if something needs to be done, feel free to get involved. What's I think important is there's a struggle for board members of you need to build the chapter, you want to build the chapter, we all want to have more business associates, but you want to have people that are participants, and it's regimented, kind of like the military. You need leaders, you need squad captains, you need commanders, but you also need foot soldiers. And everybody's got a spot. When I ran my chapter, I told everybody it's kind of like we're all sitting at the dinner table. And if we each picked up our own plate and took it to the kitchen and washed it off and threw it in the sink, whoever came along behind us to clean up the mess had very little to clean up. Instead, if we all left our plates on the table and just got up and went to the living room to watch the game, then whoever comes in along behind us has to clean up the rest of the mess. So accountability is important. Getting involved is important, and doing more than just sitting on your hands and expecting business to come is important. I think as a mentality for new members to have.
Awesome. Great stuff. You're just giving me awesome segues here. So you're giving me layups. So
There
we
you go.
talked about, giving tips for the rookie members. Now as you get your footing and you get involved and you get on a committee, any advice to get on a committee? Have you had any positions on the board or a chair that any stories you have of being, a board member?
Well, the board might disagree with me, but I usually tell the board members, like currently I'm past president. I've been president a couple times. I've held some other positions on the board. I'm probably always going to be involved in some sense. Um, Here's the most important thing. This chapter is my chapter. And
Hmm.
the board members might say, this is our chapter. The group might say, this is our chapter. This is my chapter. And what I mean by that is I take personal responsibility and accountability. I want great members coming in. I vet everybody that comes in. When you come to our chapter meeting, I'm the guy, and I don't care what anybody else says. And I think that's an important mentality for all chapter members to have. I've told our board, I've told our chapter, my seat is $100,000 plus a year seat. Nobody's going to mess this up for me. And as long as the understanding is the better the chapter does, the better we as individuals will all do and succeed in all of that, business and outside of business. That's the mentality to have, is to be vested in your chapter. It's not enough to walk into a chapter, get included, and just sit there on your hands, in my opinion. Now, again,
Yeah.
I'm that guy that's always going to get involved. I'm the guy that's always going to figure out, hey, is there a better way we can do this? Is there a more efficient way than we can do this? And I realize not everybody's like that. But if people would take that type of responsibility and accountability on a personal level about their chapters, I think it would only make these chapters, stronger. I think those are good things for everybody.
That was an awesome answer. I've never even thought of that perspective. Like, this seat is, don't mess with my seat. It's important. And I think that's definitely a great mentality to have, because, LeTip is like a family. We all get to know each other. But at the end of the day, like, we got to take care of it, and we got to, keep to a high standard, and,
Sure do.
Make sure everyone's cleaning their plate. Love it, love it, love it. Charlene loves it too. Charlene's tuning in. She's giving you clapping hands and muscles. So thank you, Charlene, for tuning in. Reminding you guys, we are live. So if you have a question, comment, or concern at home, you can put it in the comments section. We'll answer it live with Adam today. Jerry says, and I thought I was the one who felt that, only one that felt that way. Is Jerry in your chapter?
He is not, but he sounds like a guy that I would love to have in our chapter.
Yeah. You guys are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We do things. We run background checks on new members. I've got a private investigator. We certainly realize and understand that, some of these goods and services and some of these categories go into people's homes and things like that. And so, obviously we would never want, like, a pedophile to go into somebody's home. And got children and things like that. And so, again, those things are important, because at the end of the day, if we all talk about accountability, we're vouching for one another. So how in good conscience could we send somebody, and how could I sit there and say, hey, I got a guy for you, knowing that, the guy's not any good, or the guy does have a criminal background in history and shouldn't be in the chapter, and all of those things. And, not getting into people can't get recovered and change their lives and all those things. But those things are critical, because, again, we're utilizing each other. We have people coming to us outside of LeTip asking if we know somebody that can help them with any given service, provide something for them. And I think that's super, super important.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Like I said, we are live. If you guys at home have a question, feel free to put in the comments section. Any other tips, tricks, or things LeTip related that you'd like to share with the group?
The one thing I always like to remind my chapter is we have something that's underutilized, overlooked, and very important. It's these things on the side of our head called ears. And what's important about those is using them to listen. And oftentimes, you see stuff out there now where people talk and respond, and they're not listening. And if you listen, if you ask people questions and things like that, from a LeTip standpoint, you can find out that you probably get 2 or 3 tips out of one conversation, rather than just the one that you were assuming based upon the original question, such as, hey, do you have a guy for such and such? And so why that's important, I used to like to tell my chapter, there's nothing like eavesdropping when you're standing in line at the grocery store and listening to people standing right in front of you talking about whatever it is, and kind of innocently going, hey, by the way, did you have somebody for that issue or whatever it is that you're discussing? Because if you don't, I got a guy. Now, of course, there's a creep factor. So somewhere between on the continuum of the creepy factor versus, hey, I'm just kind of adding in a conversation. And of course, you have to have some emotional intelligence and self-awareness. But in reality, there's doors everywhere to finding tips and business and potential members and things like that if we just use those things on the sides of our head called ears.
Yes, the ears are very important. I thought you were going to say LeTip Wired, but yes, the ears are very important. LeTip Wired is also a great app that we have as LeTip members, which we think we underutilize. We definitely need to be, as a group, making you guys aware we have LeTip Wired and Communicare. But yes, the ears are definitely super important. Always listening, and always that's one thing that I would say to help newer members, because they're always thinking about how they could tip themselves, like, oh, I can use the dentist in my chapter. I could use, the landscaper in my chapter. But like, how can you change your mindset, listen, and help other people use people in your chapter? Oh, did you take care of that issue? I actually have a guy. You got plenty of guys if you're in a LeTip chapter that are here to help you. So if you definitely got to shift that mindset.
Well,
Great stuff.
instead of just saying, "Hey, look, our chapter can use a landscaper," take it one more level and say, "What does that landscaper need? Does that landscaper need an attorney? Does that landscaper need somebody to fix an electrical problem in their house? Hey, we got a guy for that." So it's almost like, "Hey, look, don't just focus on recruiting somebody for the chapter, but talk to that potential recruit and say, well, what kinds of goods and services are you needing? Go both directions with it." Because then potentially, that's a win-win,
Awesome. Great stuff. And people are all tuning in. They're loving it. Jerry says exactly. Charlene says she loves ear hustling. Getting a lot of claps and a lot of thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning. Feel free to put a question in the comments section. We'll answer it live. LeTip related. We're on the LeTip subject matter right now. We've covered a lot, and I'm not pressuring you to cover anything more, but anything else that you'd like to share with your experience in LeTip?
Yeah, well, Charlene just mentioned it, ear hustling. I prefer a different term. My chapter laughs at me. I prefer business networking whore. And, it's important to understand that. So I'll give you a quick example. We will be out somewhere, and it could be a Vegas Golden Knights game. It could be a Las Vegas Raiders game. It could be at an event or something. And if there's a conversation going on, and my spouse will just look at me and she knows. She just looks at me and goes, "Go ahead. Go ahead. You can't help yourself. Go ahead." I'll give you a quick example because it can happen anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So we went to go see a show with some friends. We were in the bar. We had a drink before we went in, and I paid for my drink, and I left my card there for the cocktail waitress. And my business card, on purpose, looks like a credit card. It's plastic, feels like a credit card. It's the exact dimensions of a credit card. And the credit card I'd used to pay was also black, just like my business card. So we left. We were wandering into the show, and the cocktail waitress chased me all the way down. And she runs up and she goes, "Sir, you left your credit card, on the little book thing with the receipt." And I said, "No, that was for you." And she gave me this odd look, and she pulled it out. And she goes, "Oh my God, this isn't a credit card, but it looks and it feels like a credit card." And without thinking, I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, but you can only get money if you hire me." And my wife hit me in the arm and said, "Does this ever stop?" And I said, "No, it just happens. It just comes out of me." And the point being is, those opportunities exist. I mean, they're everywhere. And so I think a lot of times people get hung up and think the generic, "Hi, my name is Adam. I'm an attorney in LeTip Desert Springs, and I do personal injury. And see my badge, and how are you? And would you like to join my business networking group?" That stuff doesn't work. Okay. That doesn't work. You become that annoying person that everybody then looks at you and goes, "Oh God, here comes Adam. He's going to sit here and try to sell me on LeTip." I love talking about LeTip without ever mentioning LeTip. And not because I'm ashamed of it. I don't mean like that at all. But I think people get so hung up and cold towards, "Oh, here's another business networking guy," right? And so there's ways and opportunities, whether you're drinking coffee at the coffee shop, you're at an event, you're tailgating in the parking lot before the Raiders game or wherever, and you can sit there and talk about these relationships that you have with these people. Our phrase is, hey, I got a guy, and this is what he does, da-da-da-da-da, and it's in the context of conversation. LeTip never comes up. And then at that point, when those people start coming to you and start asking you those questions, and if they qualify as a potential candidate, then it's like, hey, what are you doing on Thursday morning at 7? We're having breakfast at a golf club. The food's terrible, but the people are great. So what are you doing on Thursday? And that's how you reel them in. And you never once said LeTip.
Absolutely. So in sales, they call it commission breath. People can smell your commission breath when you're trying to sell something.
Right.
We do marketing here at Undefeated Media, and we're always telling people the content you put out, don't try to sell yourself. Put out content that people care about, because people don't want to be sold. And then you're going to become that annoying snake oil salesman.
Right.
But how can you help them? Oh, your transmission broke. How can you help them? Oh, you have a heating or plumbing problem. How can you help them? So if you're providing value and actually helping someone, it's much more easier to get a response rather than being like, oh, like I can help you buy a house from me or use me or me. Like, people don't want to be sold. So those are great points. So if you're trying to grow your chapter, or you're trying to help recruit people, or even trying to get people to just come for a free breakfast, don't sell them. Tell them the value that they can be getting out of it, or hey, you want a free breakfast? You want to come hang out and meet some business owners? Like, you don't need to sell it. LeTip sells itself. It's a great group that becomes a family, and we're all here together to help each other's businesses grow and flourish. These are you're spitting out gold here. So any more gems, any more things top of mind that you want to share with us?
Well,
as second generation, you have a lot of blood in the game. I'm learning from you right now. Keep it coming.
There you go. Well, we don't always get it right, but that doesn't mean we don't keep trying. I think what's important, and I tell people all the time, we'll have guests that come in and they can't join our chapter because that category is filled. But we invite them and we tell the category, hey, look, this guy's coming over today because he's just interested in LeTip and business networking. So I think for existing members, don't limit yourself to just your chapter. So if the chapter down the street doesn't have this category, talk to the category in your chapter, say, hey, look, I got a guy who wants to check this out. Have them see and come to your chapter one time, and then go try to, lateral or hand them off to the chapter up the street that doesn't have that category and expose them to it. Now, the problem that we have is all these chapters are like fraternities or sororities, if you will. Each one has its own kind of what's the word?
Vibe.
Yeah. It's got its own vibe. It's got its own character, if you will.
Personality.
Personality is a good definition. We have our own kind of vibe. We're very lax. I mean, we run the rules, we run the the flip guide and all those types of things. But it's slightly better than Animal House. We haven't burned the place down yet, but it's a relaxed atmosphere because the understanding is, there's a lot of people that know they should network, but they don't know how, and they're nervous, and the whole public speaking thing and all of that. And so, there's a lot of fun, jiving with each other, jokes, that type of thing. It's just a good atmosphere. So the fear, though, sometimes is when people come in and they go, hey, your chapter is really pretty cool. And we go, we are probably the coolest chapter. But not everybody's like us, and again, no criticism of anybody else. And I'm not saying we always get it right. And I'm sure there are people that are, stuffed shirts that want a very formal meeting in that end. All I can tell you is our results are good. Everybody's making money and the vibe is just relaxed and chill. And that's for, I think, people who are just getting into networking and really nervous and uncomfortable about it. There's a good feel when they come into our chapter because of that,
Yeah. Great stuff. Once again, reminding everyone, we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. If you have a question, comment, concern, please put them in the comments section and we will answer them live. The comment section is blowing up. Tons of people are saying some awesome stuff. Jerry just said, I've always told new members that if you can make them laugh, they'll remember you. So that's a great tip. You want to differentiate yourself, not even just like in the tip or remember just out in your working life, being different and having something to be remembered by, not just like, oh, hey, buy a house from me. I'm a real estate agent. No one's going to remember that. It's a sales pitch. But if you, had like a fun, I want to know where I can get these business cards that look like credit cards. I think I can have a ton of fun with those, but that's a conversation we'll have after. But yeah, those are things that you can do to be memorable. Being memorable is marketing nowadays, right? So great stuff. Last chance for the people at home. Question, comment, concern, put in the comments section. We'll love to answer it live. Adam, unless you got anything more you want to add about LeTip, we're going to shift gears in a second. So any more LeTip related stuff you like to share?
I think I'm good. Something came to mind real quick, and it's not.
Yeah, please.
It's something that we do. When we would vote on a new member, and again, this just keeps with the vibe and the personality of our chapter, and it's how I think it's just one more example for other chapter members out there how you guys can make it fun. So whenever we voted on a new member, and if they got in, we kick them out, we vote on them, look at the votes, they come in, and then, we go, okay, come on in, stand up. And I would look at them with that. I'm told, it's my charming good looks and my dry sense of humor that I can get by with this. But I'll look at that potential new member and say, you want the good news or the bad news about the vote? And you just see the look on their face, right? And most of them say, well, give us the bad news. And I go, well, you owe us money. Well, what's the good news? We just voted you into the chapter. Welcome to the chapter,
Gotta be delivered, right? But yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people don't appreciate the torture, but I think that is just something where our vibe in our chapter, I think, is probably a lot different than most. And the point of all of this is, yeah, it's business, but you can have fun with it. You can have a good time. So in our case, those Thursday morning meetings, there's an energy there. There's fun there. There's smack talking there and all of that. And again, it's not for everybody, but don't limit yourselves. Don't sit there and be stuck to that,
Absolutely. Adam, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, we got some technical difficulties going on right now. We're working on that. But if you can hear me, that's good.
I can take over the show if you want. I'm good.
Absolutely.
I'm kidding.
Yes, we got some we're gonna.
It's just me. So if you want me to take over the show, hey, send your questions. We'll start answering them right now.
Yeah, he's a natural. He's a natural.
Let's do
it. B-Rock, why don't you quickly remove yourself? Don't end the show. Open up a new. Why don't you go to leave the studio, and then come back to the studio. I'll. Go to settings. Can you hear me, Adam?
Sure can.
All right. We're working through this. There you go. Click that. Yep. There we go. Back online. I don't know what just happened, but everything froze on us. But we're back. We're back. All right. So let's go through some. Before we move on, we're going to go through some comments that came in. Charlene, thanks, Adam. I enjoy the information. Definitely appreciate you sharing. Unfortunately, my lunch break is over. You have a great day. Charlene, thank you for spending your lunch with us today.
Thank you.
It is your show, Adam. Faith says it is your show. It is your show. It's all about you. You're the featured member. Adam can definitely see the comments. I put them up here for him to see. So yeah, put them in there. Charlene, before you go to lunch, I don't want you to miss out how you can contact Adam if you need anything. Adam, what's the best way people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on social media, so I've got a Facebook page. It's Muslusky Law. I'm on Instagram. I've got a business page, Muslusky Law. My personal page is Adam Muslusky for Instagram as well as Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn under my first and last name. Obviously, there's my website that you guys put up. Thank you as far as that. If you do a Google search and look for excessively good looking, charming, with a dry sense of humor and a face for radio, you'll find me. I'll probably be at the top of the Google search. So I'm pretty easy to find. Easy to find.
Awesome. Not hard to find. So there you have it. Many ways to find Adam. All right. Last chance, guys. If you have questions, please put in the comments section. The comments are blowing up. We got thumbs up. Love the comments. But if you have any questions, now's your chance to put your final questions in there for Adam. Adam, we're going to move on to what we call the speed round.
Okay.
Unless we get a question right now that I can ask you, we're going to move on to the speed round. So how the speed round works is we have a little ticker going off, and I'm going to ask you a question. First thing that comes to mind, it's going to be, low-key questions, nothing serious. And we're going to get to know you a little bit more. Oh, before speed round, Jerry wants to know, how long have you been LeTip?
10 years last year. Nice.
But Jerry, I don't know if you were with us before. He's second generation. So, he's been in LeTip his whole life, basically.
It's in my blood. Yeah, it's in my blood.
It's in his blood. Awesome. Great stuff. All right, Adam, are you ready?
Sure.
For the speed round? Let it rip, B-Rock. All right, we'll start off easy. Adam, favorite food?
Pasta.
All right. Favorite dessert?
Probably ice cream.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Gladiator.
Mine too. Great job. Favorite TV show?
Most recent favorite, probably Suits.
Okay. How about streaming? Anything you like on the streaming services?
Really enjoyed Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Nice. I just finished Better Call Saul. Great show. Favorite sport?
NHL hockey.
Nice. Who's your favorite NHL team?
Home team, Vegas Golden Knights.
Awesome. Is that a Golden Knights jersey in the background?
That is an old Chargers jersey, but the Golden Knight jerseys are in my front conference room, actually.
Like it. So that would make your favorite NFL team the Chargers?
San Diego Chargers for life. LA Chargers, no.
Okay, all right. So is there a favorite football team you have now?
I am a Las Vegas Raiders season ticket holder, but they are hard to like right now.
We got a rookie quarterback this week, right?
That's true.
Good stuff. Favorite book?
I'm going to go right now with Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Attorney.
Okay, all right. Any business books that you want to share with our guests?
That's probably the most likely of a business book, or closest to a business book I'll ever read was that one, and that was on the recommendation of a friend before I started my practice.
Nice, great stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Ted Lasso, but he asks, do you like Ted Lasso? I love Ted Lasso. So great show. He asked in the show to like his boss. He's like, "What's your favorite? What's your best concert you've been to, and first concert you've been to?"
First concert, because I was a kid and was taken by my parents, so they didn't have to find a babysitter, was the Pointer Sisters at Miramar Naval Station in San Diego in the 70s as a kid. Best concert probably was Steely Dan with Michael McDonald.
Nice. Very cool. Favorite hobby or thing you like to do that has nothing to do with business or networking? I could see you saying networking is a hobby of yours. Favorite thing to do that has nothing to do with business or networking? Get a little R&R. What's your favorite thing to do?
If if not travel, I would say watching live sports events for me.
Very, very cool. I believe Adam has survived the speed round. Congratulations, you made it through. Last chance for the comments in the comments section. If you have a question, comment, concern, now is your very last chance to put something in the comments section and join our live show today. Adam, any questions, comments, concerns that you have?
No comments or concerns. You guys still kept me on here, so I guess I didn't mess it up as far as that goes. But I definitely want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be on here. It was a blast. It was super good time. I like the spontaneity of it. I like what you guys are doing with this stuff in terms of, highlighting members and stuff like that. And, I wish you guys good luck moving forward on this and hope this thing blows up for you guys in a good way. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We also want to remind everyone at home to definitely open your Communicare emails because you will see an awesome article about Adam. He is our cover man of the month, our featured member of the month. And in Communicare, you can learn about Adam, our featured member. You can learn about other chapters and some tips and trips in your LeTip career and path. So yeah, I mean, we don't have any more questions in the comments section. Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure. I actually learned so much. I'm sure the people at home learned so much, and we love your mindset. Definitely some eye-opening tips and tricks. So it was a pleasure having you on the show. You're welcome anytime, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for indulging me on a Friday. You guys all have a great weekend.
You too. And thank you guys for watching LeTip Live, and we'll see you next time.